Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the tavern. Hey, it's Steve here, and unfortunately tonight, fortunately actually for you guys, because you don't have to listen to Dave and Greg tonight. Fortunately for everybody else, we have the pleasure of having Lee from Wedge FX, one of our first, actually our first guest from the podcast, joining us this evening as a co-host tonight. And Lee, thank you for joining us. Dave is currently on a cruise. And Greg, funny story. Unfortunately, I don't have a picture of it for the smack of the week. However, Greg fell skiing in Colorado and actually hurt his shoulder. So he is down for the count. So he will not be, they won't be joining us this evening. So, Lee, it's you and I here at the tavern. So, first question for the night, Lee, what are you drinking this evening?
Good old-fashioned Mountain Dew Zero.
Mountain Dew Zero. And I am... not that I'm going to product place or anything, but I am going to product place for our host tonight. I am drinking a transfusion out of my Swing Aid cup. So we will get to that shortly.
Thanks for having me, man.
No, thank you for joining us. I really appreciate it. So, Lee, we had a busy weekend in golf this weekend, didn't we?
Heck yeah.
I know it's a course that you and I have both played, the Arnold Palmer Bay Hill Invitational. And what do you think of what happened this week?
That was a great round. It was a go from the get-go. You know, a lot of people making a run. I was really looking forward to that 8-person playoff.
I mean, there was a lot of talk about that on the Monday Morning Quarterback today that I was listening to. That was really like everybody was kind of rooting for a large. I think the largest, they said it's happened, the largest playoff in the PGA Tour is 6 players. And this weekend we had a chance for something crazy to happen. And, Arnold Palmer's comment was play bold. And congratulations to Kurt Kitayama for playing bold when it mattered the most in the 71st hole. I will tell you, I got lucky. I got lucky with the this weekend. I got the caddy at Wednesday at Bay Hill, and I'm being told that someone's mic is cracking, and I think it's mine. So what I'm going to do, hold on, I'm going to change microphones. I love it when my engineers will get back to me and let me know what we're doing here. Oh, I know what it is. Settings. I had to do this last week too. Wow, I love this. Don't you love it when?
Oh, while you're doing that, you know, just looking at some people run for it. Scheffler really wanted to go back to back. That'd been a cool thing. So been the second person doing it. If he would have done it,
I think who's the other one? Tiger. I mean,
Tiger.
I think the if this is any better. Scott, I know that our guest is here. Scott, does this sound any better, by the way?
No.
No. You know what I'm going to do? We're going to do this.
Well, that's better, but we can't hear you. Maybe it is better. Just kidding. Still working on that. But yeah, Kitayama, man, hitting 2 out of bounds, going back, falling back where he was, and then pulling it back. That's a heck of a way to make a run, make a win, first win on PGA Tour. It's awesome, an awesome place to do it at.
All right, can you hear me now?
Got you now.
Okay. Now we're back.
Scratch is back, but hey, at least you're back.
All right, we're just gonna roll with it at this point.
Do it.
Okay. So I think the oh, you know what it might be? Hold on, I'll be right back. Now this is what happens when you change things up and you have the you move inside because it's a little too warm outside to do this podcast. So yeah, Kitayama winning, making a birdie on the 72nd hole. So let's go back. I was talking about caddying. Wednesday had the fortune to caddy in the Pro-Am, in the Wednesday Pro-Am, and I will say, because we're going to go into a little bit of story a little later, but I got lucky. I got to caddy for the president of the Tampa Bay Rays, Matt Silverman. Had a great time. We played with couldn't have been more of a gentleman in Lucas Glover, and that was awesome to hang out with them for 18 holes. It was close to a 5.5 hour round, which it's a Wednesday Pro, and that's what they are. I'm going to say this: I did not see a bunch of low numbers out there at all. I think the only thing that I saw was big numbers. I saw a couple tour players that if you hit it in the rough out there, you couldn't score, which is what Arnold wanted. He wanted a hard.
Oh, it's crazy.
Thick rough, and he wanted to literally just, have it so that the best player that week wins. And it wasn't
absolutely. I've never been in one of those before. How's the interaction between the pro and the players playing in the Pro-Ams? I mean, are they taking it a practice round, or are they actually interacting and enjoying the company?
Giving tips, trying to get the players to play better. Couldn't have been nicer. His agent was out there with us, so that was always fun. And that was really, one of the cool things that we really had was because he was just so good. Couldn't have been any nicer. And literally just, it was an awesome day out on the golf course.
That's cool.
Really good dialogue, really good help along the way. And that made for a fun day. But let's, we'll talk about that a little bit later. We're going to wrap talking about the things that happened last week on tour after our smack of the week and some of the comments that the players have been saying. But we'll go over, I know our picks for last week. I ended up, I picked Rory. We finished, Rory finished T2. So that worked out nicely for me. And then, let's see, Dave sent it to me. Where are we here? I'm looking to see. Oh, here we go. Dave picked Scotty Scheffler. He tied 4th last week. And Greg picked John Rahm. And John Rahm started off hot, shot 65 the first day, and then fizzled over the weekend, which is kind of surprising.
That's who I had.
As well as everybody, as well as he's been playing recently. That was really kind of surprising for us. So he tied 39th. So I'm going to go in. We've got our picks for the players this week. Obviously, we've got the Players Championship coming up. Really the unofficial 5th major. Great event, great venue. I have been lucky enough to also be inside the ropes there. I played the golf course as well.
Nice.
Yeah, well, we'll get into that here in a little bit too at the end of the show. But when you think about the players, you think about it being the fifth major. Usually cream rise to the top. It's a tournament that no one has ever defended, so that's kind of a cool feat for the players. So that's really excited about that. So kind of takes Rory off the radar this week.
Yep.
So I will say we'll go with Dave, and we'll get Dave and Greg's picks locked in. Greg took a player that was in the last group this past week at the Players. He took Victor Hovland. And Dave took the guy with the smallest waistband tour, Will Zalatoris. And I am going to go ahead. I am torn, and I will tell you right now who I'm torn between. And it's not really surprising when I say these two players. They're right next to each other in odds for the week, and they are Justin Thomas and Max Homa. I feel like Homa has been an ATM machine this year, so I'm going to go ahead and lock in with Max this week because I feel like he's going to make a cut, and I can't have another miscut. So I'm going to go ahead and take Max Homa this week. And he's a new dad. And he's a new dad, so we'll go with the new dad too.
Heck yeah, he's riding that cloud.
Riding that cloud. Yep. Who are you picking this week, Lee?
I'm going Max Homa as well. I'm impressed with him. Max Homa. So yeah, nice. I'm impressed with him. He's playing well. He's doing good. He's pushing it. Obviously, ain't going to be a defending title this year. So hey.
Yeah, no, that just doesn't happen at Sawgrass. So, which really is surprising when you play that golf course. If you play well on that golf course, typically you score well, and it's but year in and year out, they figure out how to proof that golf course for the defending champ. And I don't know how they do it, but they do it every year.
Yeah. I mean, you figure what they went through last year with the weather last year.
Let's say this. Rory is the last winner that's in the field, which is a whole nother story.
That's what I was getting at. It ain't going to be a defender.
Yeah, I mean, Cam Smith is truly the defending champion. He doesn't have his parking place anymore. There's a lot to be said for that. I can't believe I missed that. But yeah, no, he'll be playing here in Orlando in a couple weeks. I may have to go see that. So, but yeah, no. So let's, it's getting to be 8:15. So we've got our picks locked in. We'll go more into the players preview. We'll talk about the rules or the new changes to the elevated events after we have our amazing guest here, good friend of both of ours. But let's do a little intro video and we will go from there. So.
What's the one thing we always bring with us inside the golf cart? Our cell phones. Introducing the Phone Caddy from Desert Fox Golf. What makes the Phone Caddy so awesome is its sliding wings and adjustable faceplate. This allows a perfect fit for any size phone, and you can slide your phone in and out no problem. Stuck in a cart with no GPS? There's an app for that right inside your Phone Caddy. Keep your phone safe and at your fingertips. Get yours today at desertfoxgolf.com.
All right. And so let me welcome to the show, co-founder of Desert Fox Golf, really good friend, not only of both of ours, but one of the good guys in this golf business, Scott Kovesdy. Scott, welcome to the tavern.
What's up, Scott?
Scott, your mic's not connected. We're just a comedy of errors with mics tonight.
I'm giving you grief, and I have the mute button on. I thought maybe it was me making all the noise earlier. I was like, before I say something, I better make sure it's not my microphone, right? No, nice to be on here. Nice to see you, Steve. Lee, awesome to see you as well. Cheers,
man.
It's been Scott, it's been what, a month and a half since I saw you last?
PGA show.
We all saw each other here in Orlando that week and had an awesome week. Nice to be. Scott, why don't you tell us? And we want to talk about Desert Fox Golf, obviously, the Phone Caddy from the introduction. But why why don't you tell us about the history of Desert Fox Golf and where you started and where you are today?
Sure, that'd be awesome. So way back 2016, 17 type of time frame, started using a lot of the golf apps out there. My league started using a program called Golf Genius to do real-time scoring and those types of things. I kind of got hooked into an app called the Grint, played around with 18 Birdies, Swing U, Golf Logics. There's so many amazing apps out there. And at the same time, I had one of the old Callaway, GPS things. You had to download the golf course and everything. And I don't know if you remember back, Gary McCord did the big thing with Pro Logics, right? And was like, why do you need one of these? Just go, download something for your phone. So long story short, one of my best friends, Eric Fox, the other co-founder of Desert Fox Golf and where we got its name from, also was a avid golfer and would use his app. And we lost the phone out on the golf course one too many times. And he's the type of guy who loves to solve problems. So he's like you, Lee.
He's that guy.
He's like, he's like, I'm going to go fix this. Right. So I got creative. And one day, and I don't do this very often on any podcast. So one day out of nowhere, this thing showed up. And what it is this is Gen 1.0 of the phone caddy. Oh, look what's on the back.
Nice.
Magnets. Yeah, go figure. So there it was right there. That was it. It only was designed to fit one phone. Obviously you could, design that to fit his phone, and that was it. I got a picture from him and he's like, check this out. Like, what the heck is that? It was just suspended from, the upright strut of the golf cart. And, it was just like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. We gotta be able to get something out there. And you do the quick search, and there was really nothing in the market at all. I think, again, this was about 2000, call it 17-ish time frame. So in 18, we actually ended up formalizing the decision to go ahead and start a company and give it a shot. I actually had my second hole in one and won a trip to Pinehurst, and took Eric, and
Nice.
he and I were there over a nice beer downtown, and shooting the breeze and just saying, okay, are we going to do this thing or are we not? And we both just decided, hey, we're going to go all in. So that's where the decision was made, and we started. So prototype after prototype after prototype. He was a 3D printing guru. I'll show you another very early version of the phone caddy, starting to look a little bit more like the phone caddy today. But as you can see, I mean, we were looking at like tension, based things. So you do this, and of course the faceplate just falls off. So that wasn't going to fly. But probably 300 some odd 3D printed prototypes later, and we ultimately came up with that wonderful thing. So there it is. That's the phone caddy, pretty much as we know it today. Thank you, Lee. Appreciate that. And hey, we got another one. There you go. With the golf. Yeah, that was the genesis of it, right? So 2018 started the company. 2019, the most important thing that we did was going to the PGA show in Orlando. But prior to that, that fall, we went out to the PGA demo. I can't remember what it was called. It was like demo and equipment experience or something along those lines. It's more of an apparel show than anything else.
The Vegas
go out there, the Vegas show. That's exactly right.
The Vegas show that we could all throw. If Lee, I don't think you've been to the Vegas show, have you?
I haven't been to that one.
Now, Scott and I could stand on one side of the room and throw a baseball to each other. The room's so small for that one comparatively speaking. Scott, what are you drinking, by the way, Scott? Is that some bourbon tonight?
It is, of course. So a little double oaked Woodford.
Nice.
So yeah, one of my favorites. And you're absolutely right. Yeah, small venue. The most important thing you can do as an entrepreneur is go out and see if somebody will pay you for the thing that you created. And that's the real test, right? And so we got out there, believe it or not, with 3D printed prototypes, and we started, booking orders, man. People loved it. They thought it was really cool. Really kind of, honed in on what the price was going to be that, people were willing to pay. And, and we just kind of went from there. So 2019, actually, I think that was that was my very first show. And that's when you and I finally met in person. Down there in 2019, and just had an absolute blast. I mean, I wasn't going to do the show, and they called me up and said, hey, I can get you a table down there, and that's exactly what we did. It's like you run to Walmart, buy a table, hang a banner, and hey, I'm at the show. So, it is what it is, right? So that was way back in January 19, and so we had a full year of business. 20 came along, and COVID came along and smacked us upside our heads, and we had to pivot and go to consumer, and it's been a rush ever since then.
That's awesome.
Thanks, man.
That's my 2019 is the first time, it's when I met Steve as well. And took a couple of years to go, but hey, we finally met this last one.
I know, it was great
And
to
look-
actually see you at the show, right?
And look where all of us are
Um,
now, sitting here
right.
sitting here at the tavern.
Sitting at the
Holding the
tavern,
caddy.
enjoying a beverage, holding the phone caddy.
Yep.
Exactly.
But going along those lines, how successful has it been? Because everybody's got a cell phone now. Everybody's using, like you said, there's apps everywhere.
Mm-hmm. They say that being copied is the finest form of flattery. And I know, Steve, you're asking me, and Lee, you're asking me about Amazon, right? And where are we and whatnot. We really have created, unfortunately, a category of new devices coming into the market.
Nice.
I took a look, just to make sure, right? We have been historically the number one the number one bestseller in golf cart accessories. You guys ask me a lot of times too what some of the challenges are in being a business. Well, Amazon apparently before this podcast decided to change us to cell phone accessories, and I'm now 1,200 in cell phone accessories. So I got some work to do this week to get us back over into the golf cart world. So yeah, I was incredibly successful until about 15 minutes ago when I determined that I'm no longer the number one selling best golf cart accessory. I'm number 1,200 in cell phone accessories. But they put us as a case. We're not a case. We're a cell phone holder. So the joys of running a company and trying to maintain your success. But in all fairness, wildly more successful than anything I ever dreamed of. I have old business models and business plans of, what would happen if we got to selling, 100 units in a month. That was like goal number one. It's like, wow, do you think we could really sell that many in a month, right? And there's not a day that goes by where we're not probably selling 100 units a day, right? So it's just staggering, as to what you can actually accomplish and where you can go with this stuff. And it's been quite a run. So it's been enjoyable. I think we're doing okay. At least well enough for me on a personal note, right? I spent 23 years at Intel, long-term career corporate guy. Left that job back in 2021 and get an opportunity now to do something that I love, aligned with my personal passion, which is the game of golf, and do it with one of my best friends. So it's been a real fun. It's been a real blast.
That's awesome.
So Scott, obviously the phone caddy was where you guys started. Where has the phone caddy taken you? What other products do you guys have? You probably don't want to talk about what's coming, but obviously you're always looking for something new and exciting to expand the business. So why don't you tell everybody what else you guys have to offer?
Yeah, it's been good. Earlier this year, we launched one of these guys. I saw you guys drinking out of it earlier, right? So this is our Swing Aid drink tumbler. The one I'm holding is green, yours is blue, and I'm going to explain that later on in the podcast. But the drink tumbler has been kind of a nifty little creation, right? We quote unquote freed the drink holder, so we figured we'd fill it up with something else. And we always try to find something that's purposeful, right, for the game of golf. That tumbler fits in every cup holder that's in a golf cart. It fits inside of the ice chest, of the golf cart. You can get 6 of them in there nicely. It's a screw top with a leak-proof lid, so you can throw it in your bag. It's not going to leak all over the place. And then what was clever about it is it's a novelty fun tumbler, right? If you ever meet Eric and I, we like to enjoy life. We like to laugh. And so throughout the entire, stainless steel can, the nutrition facts, it's designed to look like a nutrition drink, right? But it's like daily round, right? 10% eagles, 80% birdies, not a significant source of mulligans or holes in one, and then the best part of it, exactly. The best part is the ingredients. Eric and I have a running joke because he only makes it about 15 holes in golf. And he's like, whatever I put in it or whatever I feel like putting in it today, it could be water, it could be whiskey, it could be vodka, but you won't know until the 15th hole. So just a fun way to just, take a twist on a tumbler. There's tons of different tumblers that are out there. We know that. But that was a nice expansion. And then from there, we've also, of course, looked at the core product, the phone caddy. On the back of this thing, I don't know if you can see it or not right there. This is a push cart adapter. So this stabilizes on a round surface. And then the other device I have, and I actually don't have one, so hopefully one of you guys do.
Scott's get one of them.
Scott's gonna get one of those.
So do me a favor and grab the cigar holder. So the cigar holder, this has been a blast. So we were in market for, gosh, I don't even know, about 3 years. and many of our customers reached out, put a cigar holder on it, and this is going to be killer. Put a cigar holder, this is going to be killer. And there it is right there. It just snaps right in the bottom of the phone caddy. We had an accessory slot since day one. We're a couple of, nerdy engineers, I guess. So we think about this stuff long before it's necessary. And, we put the accessory slot on there with the vision of adding accessories down the road. And the cigar holder is one of the first ones that we launched. Of course, we did the classic swag stuff, right? We have golf towels and cooling towels, and we have some hats and shirts and things like that. But a lot of that product is more for another side of our business. We're really big into customization and things like that. So, yeah, that's kind of the stuff we have going on. And you alluded to it, and might as well just throw it out there. So later this year,
that was a good lead into my question there.
Yeah,
you might have a new product coming out. Okay,
might have a new product coming out. Yeah.
Okay, we'll have to wait and see on that one. We might, you know what? How about this? If you might have something coming out, we might have you on when you want to launch that product again, and bring that product back into the show and show everybody here at the tavern.
I think that would be a blast. I'll see you in June.
Okay, sounds good. I like that.
Well, hey, you kind of led into it there. I'm all about custom, and everybody likes custom stuff. If you can fertilize it, make it your own, make it cool, make it stand out, that's what people are all about. The customization process on orders and logos and events. How does that work out for you?
It's an entire other half of the business. We call it wholesale, but the reality of it is it is in fact, the world of promotional products, right? So there, every golf tournament out there, and I run a very large one for Make-A-Wish here every year in Arizona. We're constantly running sponsorships and looking for things to do that are new and unique and different. And as I mentioned earlier, one of the reasons we did this was the tie-in with cell phones. For golf events that are out there that are running charity events, all of the auctions, I say a large percentage of the auctions have moved to some form of electronics, right? So you're going to run that auction on your cell phone. You're going to have the, ability to do live bidding, live auctions, those types of things. As I mentioned earlier, the real-time scoring and things like that, it speeds up the events. And so what better way than to throw, a custom logo on that from, for example, Golf Magazine, golf.com. You can see in the upper right corner there, you got the Golfing Dads, logo from the tavern, right? Lee, you and I have been exchanging some emails. I'm, working on a wedge. I'm working on a wedge with you. Took your logo, threw it on there to give you an idea of what a mock-up would look like, right? So I'm gonna get one of those. Bingo. Get you one of those, right? Get you one of those. So yeah, it's been fantastic. And with the swing ed, as I mentioned earlier, we did this for the Green Bar, right? So that's Bi-Coastal Cup. We could change the logo, change the colors. And the customization is pretty slick. The other thing that we do is we completely change the all of the text that's on there as well. Started doing that a lot for the corporations. So did that with Hilton, for example, Southland Corporation. And what you do is you take the mission statement, weave that into the ingredients, take their tagline, replace mine, put it on the can. And then with the nutrition ingredients, it's a great place for all of your corporate values, right? So you can do some really clever things, on the corporate front with that as well. And again, it makes an amazing, tea gift. It makes an amazing, corporate giveaway. The sponsors love it. It's something that's new. It's something that's unique, and helps, promote their brand.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Scott, to follow up on that, what's the lead time if somebody wanted something like that for an event? What's the lead time on a custom order like that?
Yeah. So for our swing aid and our phone caddies, it's only 3 weeks, and that includes 1 week of ground shipping anywhere in the U.S. Obviously, you can solve that problem with dollars and expedited shipping and things like that. But if you give us 3 weeks, it's the least expensive way to get the product to you. And that's basically from approval of the design. So, we'll work on the proof and do the digital proofing with you so you can look and see what it's going to look like. And then it only takes about 3 weeks from placing an order to get it to you.
Now, when you talk about the proof and that, I'm going to thank you anyway, by the way, while we're here. You were the one that changed the Golfing Dads logo to the Tavern logo. So thank you for your help with that. I really want to say thank you from my heart.
That's awesome. It's a great logo.
Thanks.
Now,
appreciate it.
Do you design the logos for them, or do they send you the logos, or how does that work? Like, do you have a design team in-house? I know you did ours, but do you have a design team that will help somebody make a custom logo, or do you just go with what they send you?
No, we generally go with what is sent to us, and we usually ask for a vector logo file. It's the fastest way to get things done. But I will say, more often than not, you end up working with the higher resolution PNG, and then we can create what's necessary. Reasonably small, tweaks. We do that all the time. Hey, can you take my logo and add, 2023, or Steve and Lee's, golf tournament XYZ, right? Those types of design changes are reasonably easy to accomplish for us. The Golfing Dads Tavern logo, that is something where you gave me your initial logo and a design idea, and then I was able to, pivot off of that and create something. We've done a couple of one-off designs, but we generally are not graphics designers. We're not that great at it. We're okay. We can do some things that are within our wheelhouse. As soon as you get into something that's complex, I would recommend that you go get a design from someone else and bring it to us. But again, a lot of times we'll just do, a guy's or a woman's golf trip, right? And they have something that, hey, here's a picture of something I did on a shirt. Can you get something close, right? If you're doing that, we can do that level of design. It's time consuming and whatnot, so we try to avoid it. But where we get, really challenged is if you're trying to come up with something that's corporate layer, type of level, right? Pantone color matching and meets design guidelines, and that isn't us. We're not going to be able to pull something like that together for you. So yes, we generally ask for logos. Some type of a vector logo is best for us to be able to just print straight to the product, and then occasionally we can get away with a high resolution PNG file.
No, I think
I
you've
could test that.
answered.
The first one I sent you today, I don't know what my
Mhm.
computer did when that got to you, but yeah, the proofing portion of it is
Mhm.
awesome. Works out great. I looked at it. It's like that obviously sent wrong.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I mean, Lee raises a very interesting, dialogue, right? There was that back and forth. It took no more than 5 minutes, for he and I
Yep.
to go back and forth and do the digital proof. It's such an effective process. But what's interesting about it is sometimes I will get a logo and I will put it together, and it does not look like it's the right logo. And the customer says, "That's fantastic. It's exactly right." Other times I'll put it together and I'm like, "That doesn't look like the right logo." And the customer comes back like you, Lee, right? And he's like, "Dude, that doesn't look right at all. Something got messed up." So, a couple quick
Yeah, I've been
tweaks,
there.
quick tweaks, and tweaks
You've
rather
kind
or
of
other green.
you've kind of answered a few of our other questions about do you only custom the caddies or the phone caddies, or you the push cart option and gifting. I want to read a couple of the comments from our viewers on here, and I'll pull them up. Let me see how this works here. We can show them on the screen. So Scott Mixon, absolutely love my Desert Fox phone caddy. So thank you, Scott. I actually saw Scott on Friday at Bay Hill, so it was good to see him. And then Scott, somebody that we both know, the WAGCM Tour. Thank you, Scott, for all your support and great custom phone caddies for Team USA. I know I'm trying to be a part of Team USA this year, going to Phuket, Thailand. So I want my Team USA one at some point. And then last but not least, one of our big supporters here, Brad Schubert. My Desert Fox phone caddy is just important as my wingman or my tag towel on the cart. So some great comments there from our viewers. So thank you guys for watching tonight. Hey Brad, that show in June you might want to pay attention to, because we may there. I kind of have the in on what's coming. So Scott, it's a funny story. It's a funny story how you and I actually connected. And it was on social media. So why don't you tell everybody how you and I met actually on social media?
I mean, yeah, it's one of those things where you see the interaction, you see the different accounts out there, right? And I think it was me that reached out to you, trying to learn a little bit more about what you were doing with Golfing Dads, and as a new brand, trying to get weaved into the golf industry. I've played golf pretty much my entire life since I was 13 years old, more or less, right? I was a caddy growing up as a kid, played on the high school golf team, and I felt like I was reasonably in the know, you know what I mean, when it came to golf and what was going on in golf. Until I started this company, I didn't realize just how little I knew, about the game, about the industry, about everything. And you spend 5-10 minutes with Steve and you get a real quick, blast of, oh my gosh, this guy's a wealth of knowledge, very well connected in the industry. And he and I started to exchange, conversation around what he was doing with the NFL, alumni network and everything, and putting on an event. And so for me, it gave me the opportunity to just kind of say, hey, here's an opportunity to talk to somebody about the products, talk about an event that he's going to run, and then also, what he's doing in the industry, around at the time it was a blog. Now, it's migrated to become something, bigger and better. But, at the end of the day, that's the connection that we made, and, started that dialogue, that conversation, found out that I was coming to the PGA show, was like, oh my gosh, we need to get together. Let's figure some things out. And, we've been, fast friends, from there all the way through till now. And we've gotten to play golf, numerous times. Got to hang out even, just hanging with the family and doing a bunch of stuff together down in Orlando. So, that's where it all started. It starts with an Instagram DM. I will say that the vast majority of the people that I've stayed in touch with and I would consider friends are those that, respond, and you do make a connection and you do get an opportunity to meet in person. And, it's, that's been something really good, really, really powerful that's come from this, doing the company and getting more into the social media world. As you can tell, I'm a little bit older, so wasn't that savvy in the world of Instagram and all that stuff when I got started.
Me neither.
All because my cart frame had my rangefinder, my towel, my speaker, and everything else on it. And you were like, "You need a phone caddy on there."
That might have been that might have been the exact DM. So I figured you were going to bring that up, right? So yes, I might have noticed the fact that you were like a rolling target market person to reach out to. But
go get it, Steve.
It is what it is. He likes his golf, right?
Yeah, I do like my golf accessories. So gotta have fun on the golf course. So
heck yeah. What's been the most surprising thing in the golf industry that you've come since you started?
Yeah. What I didn't know about the golf industry, Lee, is I'm going to use the word segmentation, but I just do a timeline type of a thing. So I'll go like this, right? On this end over here, you have all the big Titleists and the Callaways of the world. Over here, you have Desert Fox Golf and maybe a Wedge FX and others, right? There is a massive chasm, in between that. There are not a lot of people that live in that in between space. And I didn't realize that as a golf consumer, as somebody that was in the game. I think even over the last 5 years, this is where I don't know, because now I'm in it and I see it, and there's a huge part up. I'm on this side. There's a huge part of people over here, right, that exist. Everything from apparel to accessories to you name it, right? There's a large number of companies that live in that area. And there's very few that exist in the middle, because once a Titleist or a Ping or a Callaway or a whoever sees something, they'll probably figure it out, snatch it up, do something to take that and make it be a part of their umbrella. So that for me was the biggest surprise. And then to take it a step further, that's the business surprise for me. But I started to allude to it a little bit earlier, is the people, that are behind those smaller companies, that are behind, a golf movement, right? You take a Matt Cardis out there with, Golf in Your State and what he's doing to help grow the game. You take all of the people that he's, associated with, right? They're doing some really interesting things. Now, there's also, a bit of a corporate angle that they've started to kind of latch onto those guys, and you can kind of see it, kind of playing, a part and a role. I mean, I know he's working very closely with Adidas. There's some guys, that are working very closely with Puma within that circle. So it's interesting to kind of watch all that out. That's what I'm most surprised about, is that dynamic, in the golf industry. And since I'm talking about it, I'm going to give you a number two that is secondarily, very surprising or very, interesting, to me, that kind of like awakened me or whatever you want to call it. And that is indeed that human piece of it, right? The influencer world, the social media world, how that plays a role, in this industry and in this game. I never followed or looked at anything on any of the social media platforms around golf. No idea why. I mean, they were there. I mean, Facebook's been around for a long time. Who knows? Maybe this existed back in the days of MySpace. I don't know. But, I didn't do anything. I never thought about, hey, I'm a golfer. Let's go see what's going on in that world. And now I live in that world every single day. So those are the two big ones for me that, just have caught me off guard. It's been a real, to a certain extent, a pleasant surprise. a lot of really cool people that I've met through, the industry and in that world. And, again, it's been a real eye opener for me.
That's awesome. I mean, one thing that I've shared with you there at the show, I'll bring it up, is, you send stuff around, people are using them in the States. Steve, anyone who's associated with Steve knows what a phone caddy is. But what was it, 2021, when I was in Australia and I walked into a pro shop, checking for my tea time, and I saw this sitting on the counter. I was like, that's freaking cool.
And I'll give a shout out to our guy down there. His name's Rise Hillsden, and he's our distributor down in Australia. He came to us. We actually met him probably at the 2020 show and just gave us a chance, and we've been working with him for the last, 2-3 years, helping to distribute the product. We've done some really cool stuff in 2023. Oh my God, it's 2023.
I know, right?
we're starting doing some work in Japan. So
Nice.
the phone caddy's getting ready to take Asia by storm, and we'll see what happens over there. So, it's wild, to see that happen. We've been in Canada, United States, Mexico, but we haven't gone across the pond the other direction yet. We get pinged quite often, but that's where we thought the push cart adapter could be really important.
Yeah.
A lot of those guys use trolleys, right? AKA push carts.
Trolley.
So, we'll see if we do a little bit of international expansion here in the next couple of years.
Now, if I could have got one to fit on a kangaroo, that'd have been cool, but
I want a kangaroo. Well, they already have a pouch, right? They already have a built-in phone caddy.
So, man. Scott, obviously with the expansion where you're going, where if somebody's looking for a phone caddy, where can they find them today?
Yeah. So as an individual consumer,
you
can reach us. Yeah. Can you still hear me? You can still hear me, right? Yeah,
leaking. Yeah, I got you. Maybe you can. A little delay.
Yep. No worries. So as an individual consumer,
I think I'm delayed a little bit.
Gotcha. You're always delayed. Keep drinking that.
I was going to say,
we'll catch up. As an individual consumer, you can come to desertfoxgolf.com. Thank you for the tagline down there. And we're also, of course, available on Amazon. There are a number of different shops out there. We are in a lot of the worldwide golf properties. These are your Vans, Dunn Edwards, and all of those guys. PGA Superstore has the product. And then we're available online at a number of different places that are picking us up. Another one, Midwest company called Shields. They're starting to expand. They actually are building one here in my backyard in Arizona. So Shields is another place you can go see it in person. And then when it comes to customs, reach out to us, right? sales@desertfoxgolf.com. And we can follow up. There's a couple of, links on our website. So you can go on there and you can kind of get a sense of all the different customization we do. But just drop us an email, and we try to make it incredibly easy to work with us. We do not have minimum order sizes. So if you're doing a golf trip, just did one for a guy out in New Jersey, Pennsylvania area. Just this last weekend, 35 friends all going on a golf trip, and, took care of them. So everything from gift boxes to combinations of product, we do that stuff all the time. So shoot us an email and we'll take care of you.
Awesome. Well, Scott, thank you for joining us tonight. Really enjoyed the time. Look forward to seeing you again in June with your new announcement. Brad, you better be paying attention in June. Something on your cart might need to be replaced. But thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it. And say hi to Danielle and the kids from me.
Absolutely.
And, look forward to seeing you again soon.
All right, guys. Hey, Steve,
pleasure,
take
Scott.
care. It was a real pleasure. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Thanks, Scott. That was awesome. What a great segment that was.
It's such a great item. I mean, dang.
Ever
since I got this is the first one you gave me back in 2019 when we met.
2019 when we met, yeah.
When we met for the first time.
So this segment is what we like to call the smack of the week. So I'm going to bring this up, and this video actually was sent to me by a friend of mine who literally shot me a quick shot me this video. It happened actually at Bay Hill in the MasterCard tent. They have a big MasterCard tent in between the putting green and the driving range. So if you're familiar with where that area is, Lee, and the MasterCard tent overlooks the driving range and the putting green, and there's a golf simulator up there, and you have to do closest to the pin on 17. I think it was like 142 yards. And we're just gonna roll this, and then we'll comment on it after. So here we go.
Right. Well, I got that on video, dude.
So I need to give a shout out to Scott Mixon for sending me that, and yeah, that was a buddy of his who forgot to hold on to the golf club, as you could see there, and that screen took a beating, not only with a golf ball but with an 8-iron, I believe, is what that was. So I don't know if that was like Tiger Woods windshield with Elin. Never mind. That's a whole nother story that happened around the corner from Bay Hill.
So was the 8-iron closest to the pin at least?
Mike, you want to see it again? There's been an ask to see it again. We'll show it again. We'll show it again here.
Right. Well, I got that on video, dude.
That
Call
was
that early
priceless.
release.
Early release. Hey, Mike, I think so. Mike is watching, and I firmly believe that Mike is that was Mike, you actually beat them, I think, closest to the pin, because I did see you. Let's analyze that swing. We are not going to analyze that swing. I am not Gary Coach, and I will have to be here tonight. So
Do some lines.
we'll draw some cross lines. What kept that out? The club is going against the screen. So awesome. So Lee, this is a really big week on tour. Obviously, the players, it's kind of right in the middle from where both of us live. Really, really kind of exciting week. It's always one of my favorite weeks on tour to check it out and see what goes on and see where we go at the players. And it's always an exciting week. Let's talk that first, then we'll talk about the tour changes. So let's get on the players route. So first, I'm gonna put this picture up, and don't laugh, Lee. There's a lot more hair. My hairline's a little lower. There's some really old Oakleys on in this picture. But the guy in the compact hat is Len Matisse. This happened to me in 1998, and the guy standing behind him with a microphone on and a headset is me when I was in college. Funny story about this picture. I was sitting on my couch watching Players Intro on obviously in 2016. And I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden I'm watching, and I see this come across, and I pause and I rewind on my DVR, and I call my wife out, and I'm like, "Hey, come here." She walks out and she looks at me and she goes, "What are you doing on TV?" And I said, "Well, that's a great question right now that I don't know the answer to." So no, that was if you're familiar with the 1998 Players Championship. So if you're familiar with
before my time in golf.
Okay, so Lenny Matisse on Saturday moved up the leaderboard and actually was in the second to last group on Sunday. And I was his walking scorer on Saturday, and they were pushing his mom around in a wheelchair. Unfortunately, she passed away that summer from cancer. And as they were pushing her around, I was helping them get around the golf course, and Lenny was working his way up the leaderboard. Because obviously, if you're pushing around somebody in a wheelchair on a golf course, it's a lot easier to stay on cart paths. You can, being inside the ropes, and yes, they have player credentials and all that other stuff. We would go, and I'd help him around the golf course. And I was supposed to walk with Freddie on Sunday, who's one of my favorite golfers of all time. And his dad were standing there. And if you're familiar, if you see the overview of 18 green, there's a cart path to the right of 18 green where the grandstands are. And his dad and I are standing there with his mom. And his dad says to me, "Hey, can you come with us tomorrow? You've been a lot of help keeping him calm and keeping him out of, and I said, "Yeah, I'll see you on the first tee." And I immediately called the guy. My headset is a guy named Will Smith. And Will's like, tell him you'll see him on the first tee. I said, I already did. He said, good, you're good. And so Sunday I get out there. We're with Scott Hoke. Lenny moved his way up the leaderboard. We're going on 12. Lenny Birdie's 12. We're going to 13. And Joe Durant was in the group behind us. He was leading the golf tournament at the time. And Joe, I had heard he had laid up and then dumped one in the water on 11. And I looked at his dad and I said, we're in the lead. And he looks at me and he goes, tied? And I said, no, we're in the lead. Durant just dumped it in the lake on 11.
Nice.
And he literally punched the guy in the shoulder next to him. And he said, that's my son. He's leading this golf tournament. Lenny went on. He ended up making a bogey on 13. We work our way around to 17. We're one shot back. He needs to make a birdie on 17 or 18. And Scott Hoke got up and hit one like this. He hit a stick in there on 17. And Lenny gets up and hits one on a better line, on a way better line than that was. And then Scott's ball was on. And I literally watched this thing fly. It literally flew over the top of the flagstick, and none of us saw it land. And people talk about, athletes talk a lot about being in the zone, and just when things happen when you get in the zone and you can't hear anything.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, I've seen it on TV. You can go back and find the video. Lenny hits it. 25,000 people around us scream, and I never heard a thing. And you just literally just watch the ball. And he looked over at Roger Maltby as we're all standing there looking, going, what just happened? Because we didn't even hear the screams or the moans. Like, it would just happen. Like, it all happened so fast. And he looks over at Roger Maltby and he goes, Roger, did that go in the water? And he looks at me. Roger looks away, looks over towards 16 green, looks over at 16 green and nods his head yes. And he's like, and I'm grabbing my yardage book. I've got a yardage book in my back pocket, and I'm looking at numbers trying to figure out what the carry line is on that. And it's like 144 to carry that back edge. So no, that was a really cool experience from 1998, which was really a lot of fun. Really cool experience. And that was one of the reasons the Players is my favorite tournament of the year. And really looking forward to this week. I will say, in talking with some of the players this past week at Bay Hill, the setup at Bay Hill is a lot like they're going to see at Sawgrass, except the rough won't be as thick.
Yeah.
And it's the one good thing for the players is the players going to the players. A lot of them have been there year after year. And so the setup's typically the same. They don't have to worry about, a lot of hard practice, go out and play 9 holes. There's no pro-am this week. There's none of that. So it's a fun little week for them. That is really a really good test of golf, and we'll see where it goes. So on to our next topic today. This is page 2 of the changes that are approved. And there's been a lot of chatter online about this for the elevated events. And I know we probably have our opinions of these elevated events and what's going on with them. I'll go first.
For sure, everyone's got that.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of perception on this, on whether this is good or bad if you're a tour player, all depends on where you fall. And it was interesting to hear both perspectives this week, talking to players, and then, obviously reading online. If you fall inside the top 50, you think this is great because the top 50 from the prior year FedEx points list are automatically into all the elevated events.
Great idea.
Great idea. So the rich get richer. The top 10 not otherwise eligible from the current year's list are now in too. So there's 60 players. The top 5 players not otherwise eligible are earning the most FedEx Cup points through a collection of standard events. So you're giving guys in these standard events, the non-designated events, you're giving 5 spots out to. And then PGA Tour members among the top 30 in world golf rankings. Okay. I'm going to guess if you're in the top 30 in world golf rankings, you were probably in the top 50 anyway. So that list is probably going to be Current year tournament winners otherwise not otherwise eligible from the points list into designated events. Okay, great. So you're getting the winners in. And then 4 sponsors exemptions, but they have to be PGA Tour members. So you're not giving anybody that's not a PGA Tour full-time member a shot. And I'm okay with that move. And let's be real, that's the Tiger Woods clause.
Yeah, exactly.
Because if Tiger wants to show up and play in one of these, he's a fully exempt player. He can play, and they're going to want him there because Tiger is the needle.
Would anybody else be playing? We wouldn't hear.
Right. I mean, here's the funny part, and somebody said this on it was Ungraving the Sleeves today, and they were right on PGA Tour Radio. The comment was Tiger Woods teed off with 2 no-names on Sunday at Riviera, and ESPN Plus showed the entire round of Tiger Woods, even though he was how many shots back. I mean, he made the cut on the number, didn't really do anything on Saturday, made the cut on the number, and now he's literally how many shots back, and they're showing every shot Tiger hits on ESPN Plus. If John Rahm, Jordan Spieth, and Justin Thomas made the cut on the number and were so far out of it they weren't in contention, would they show them? I gotta feel like ESPN Plus is going to show that group like as one of your featured marquee pairings. But if you have to pick one, that's not the one getting shown. You're showing somebody that's got a chance.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I feel like there's I think the hard part is when I look at this, if you're a player, and I understand what Rory's saying, is, you know what, if you pay to see Jordan Spieth and you show up on Saturday and he misses the cut, you don't get to see Jordan Spieth. That's what people are paying their money to see, is Jordan Spieth or Rory or Ricky or any of those guys. So I understand that move.
Yeah.
Where I think I have a hard time though is that when you look at the 125 number, right? So if you keep your card at the end of the year, they're one of the top 125 players in golf that year, right, on the PGA Tour,
right,
based on the FedEx Cup points list. The fact that you keep your card and the only elevated event you're going to get into is the Players, that you're a lock in, you're not even a lock for the majors at 125 on the PGA Tour.
right.
So the only one that you're a lock for is the Players.
Wow.
The question that has to be asked is, how do you crack the top 50 if all of these guys are playing in all of these events with all of this money on the line? I mean, the only thing that's going to save the other players is, yes, you're going to have top talent there already from a World Golf Rankings perspective, but when you don't have a full field, how many points are going to be available to those players for World Golf Rankings?
That's a good point too. Exactly. Yeah.
Are we finally going to get to the point where World Golf Rankings really don't mean a damn thing, and it's FedEx Cup points, and that's all anybody gives a crap about?
Right. Hey, what is World Golf when you go to the President's Cup, Ryder Cup type stuff?
They don't, because they don't use that anyway, because they all have their points list for President's Cup and Ryder Cup. So you don't have to use, you don't use World Golf Rankings for either of those. Like, I feel like it's a really hard line for me to say, you know, is this good for golf? Is this bad for golf? On one hand, I think it's great for golf on the top players being out there playing 4 rounds of golf. On the other hand, if I'm in that 51 through 125 number, I have a really hard time thinking that this is good for golf and this is good for my living.
To get to push those up and comings up to play in more tournaments and travel more places, you know, it's going to push them.
Is this their answer to the Honda needing more people to show up for Honda?
And there was that too. Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, we talked about that before. The field was,
Like, is this the answer to get more of these guys to play so they can get one of 5 spots? Like, again, you're playing for 5 spots. It's all you're playing for to get in these designated events now. So I just have a hard time with. I can see the good and I can see the bad in this one. I can see where players like James Ha, who came out in the media today, that really had some negative things to say about it. Those players that are outside of that top tier group. The funny part is, let's be real, would Kurt Kitayama have gotten into Bay Hill this week? If you look at where Kurt Kitayama is right now, he wouldn't have played Bay Hill this week. Wouldn't have. And he ends up getting a win.
Yeah.
The only thing that I wish I think would have happened with this is we are now what? The Tour Championships, an elevated event. You have Waste Management, you had Riviera, and you've played Bay Hill. Before this announcement was made, you had played 3 elevated events this year.
Before the announcement.
And this is the first year of the elevated events. I kind of wish they had gone the year, seen what happened, and then figured this out. I almost wondered, did they jump the gun? So, I mean, that's what's left to be said. Is this a money grab? For those in the top 50, it does kind of look like one. That's where they are. But the other thing you have to think about is, how does someone, and let's use Justin Thomas, for example, or a Ricky, or when these guys came out on tour, how do these rookies and these new names out there crack that 50 to get into these events? How long is it going to take them? You're going to have to go out and win the Players as a young player. You're going to have to win a major. That's where you're going to have to go. That's what you got to do.
It's a given. It has to. That's what it means. People's got to play more, play harder.
Play harder. Yeah, play hard. Play hard. All right. So a couple more things before we wrap up the show. One of them is something I've got sitting right here. I need to say thank you to Mr. Lee for setting this up. Let me take my Dormy head cover off. Scott Mixon, you see that Dormy head cover right there? Keep calm and hit bombs. I got my sub 70 driver. So Lee, thank you for setting this up for me. I know that LA sent these to you for me.
Oh yeah, LA Golf hooked us up on those.
And then I'm going to pull the other one out here, and we'll just go down that road here and show this again. LA Golf, and then really excited. Haven't hit it yet.
I was going to say that face is that where's the mark on the face?
There isn't one. There isn't one. It's clean. 949X, the new sub 70 3-wood or 2 or 3-wood, adjustable 3-wood. Lee, while I have you here, was this the 15 degree or was this the 13 degree?
That was the 13.
That's the 13. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. That's what I just want to know where I'm working it off of when I start messing around with it. But yeah, no. So really excited to get those out. I got a little work to do tomorrow. There may be some range time tomorrow before I pick the kids up from school. Mike, you are correct. The U.S. Amateur would no longer get an invite to Bay Hill because of this. So that will happen. Mike, you are right on that. So yeah, so that is a really exciting toys. Brad, you are right. Those are some toys. That LA golf shaft is a really big toy. Let's just say that that is the toy of toys right there, boys and girls.
It is a 15 degree.
It is a 15 degree. Okay,
yep.
Then that's fine. I wouldn't take it down from 13, but I can take it down to 13, so that works. So thank you for that. But other than that, let's see here. What else do we have on this? So next week, obviously, we will recap the players, go over everybody's pick. We got a really special guest I'm excited about. I don't want to jinx it yet because I've jinxed a couple of them as we've mentioned them, and then we ended up with not having them on, so I don't want to jinx our guest for next week. But let's just say, as of right now, they make a towel with a magnet on it, so that'll be a fun one to have on. And then the week after the players, they go to where? New Orleans? Is that the week after the players?
I haven't looked at the schedule. I remember they used to go to Valspar after, but
No, it is Valspar. You're right. It is
Yeah.
Valspar. They go to the same pit. Another course lead that you and I have both played.
Yep. That one
So
kicked my rear.
yeah, it's that golf course can kick a lot of people's rears if you don't hit it down. It's like a bowling alley. If you don't keep it this wide, there's some tee shots that are claustrophobic out there. And yes, Mike, we know that people can still sign up to play in the WAGC Florida event on the 26th of March at Deer Island if they want to watch that carnage happen with 17 holes of water at Deer Island. It's a good time, and maybe bring a sub sandwich for one of the gators out there because there's some beasts out there. So yeah, there's that. But no, so Lee, thank you for joining us this evening and filling in for Dave and Greg. I really enjoyed this tonight.
My pleasure. Always happy to be on here.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. And I know before we went live, you showed something. I don't want to jinx it, so don't go ahead and show them. But you know, I'm excited about something that we're going to debut Masters Week. And I think we got a little something special. Well, we may not. We may have to do some editing on our idea because we were going to try and come in the shop that week and do some changes to make addition to some clubs. So we'll have to figure that one out. Maybe we'll do that Tuesday night and go over the Masters Week we talked about doing.
There you go. Prior to going, and then
prior to going, we talked about doing.
We'll have Dave will have his clubs. They're getting almost done, ready to roll.
Almost done, nice. And then we'll have maybe we'll do a little behind the scenes. We'll do a little behind the scenes of the process. Maybe adding the tavern logo onto my irons, maybe. So we'll do that and do a little behind the scenes on that. So I appreciate you joining us tonight, Lee. As always, like we like to say, don't forget to tip your bartender. Hope everybody had a great week this week. And yeah, exactly. We will. And if you are looking for Lee, everyone, Wedge FX. Wedge, go to Instagram. You can find them Wedge FX on Instagram.
That's the best place, or email. It's all there.
Info at wedgefx.com. I know that email address a lot because I send a lot of emails there. But yeah, no, it would appreciate the show this week and hope everybody enjoyed it, and we look forward to seeing you guys next week where we recap the players, and hopefully there's some carnage on 17 this week.
I'll be there Thursday.
Oh wow, just prod. Thanks for that. If you were going Friday, you would have had to gotten a ticket for me because I would have come up and joined you.
I know.
So, but we'll do that next year. So thank you all for joining us tonight. Hope everybody has a good night, and we will talk to you next Monday night. See you soon.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.